Welcome to the Brian Nhira podcast. My name is Brian Nhira and I am your host. Listen, every artist has their unique story about how they got into their career and the journey of their career. And today I am going to tell mine. So really my story begins when I was 4 years old. My parents decided that they wanted to become missionary evangelists. They're from Zimbabwe, Africa. And so what we did is at age 4, we started traveling to churches all across Oklahoma and the surrounding states. And eventually my parents were like, okay, you're not going to just sit in the pews anymore. You guys got to do something. So we all started singing. And so for 16 years, I traveled with my parents, singing in different churches. And then I remember at some point throughout that process, I was singing other people's songs, singing covers every week in church. And I don't know why, but I think it just had to be God that I just got tired of singing other people's songs. I was like, there was a distaste in my mouth for singing other people's songs. So what I did is I just started writing songs. Obviously, like everybody who begins, usually, the songs weren't the greatest songs in the world, but I was singing them. And then I remember in 2011, I was working at it was after my first year of college. I was working at a baseball stadium, and I remember I was like, you know what? I want to record my first song. I had written a song called Dream On. It was for my friend who had a dream in her heart, but her family didn't understand why she had this dream. She ultimately wanted to adopt children from foreign countries, but they weren't really supportive of this dream. So I wrote a song called Dream On, and so I was working at this baseball stadium to essentially pay for the record. I found a producer. His name was John Coggins. He had produced some work for some friends that I had in college. And so I was like, hey, maybe he'll do this song for me. I contacted him. He was like, yes, I'll do it for $300. $300. And yes, I was a broke college kid. I didn't have $300. So I worked really, really hard at the baseball stadium to raise the money to be able to pay for this record. And so I did that. I paid for the record. I remember in July, I think it was July 15th of 2011 that I released my very first song on the internet, and it was Dream On. And so at this point, I hadn't officially launched out as an artist. I guess you could call it my launch, but for me, it was very important that I had, God's seal of approval on me launching out as an artist, because what I had done up until that point was just travel with my parents singing in church. But I knew in my heart that I kind of I knew that I didn't just want to make music for church. I wanted to make music for people outside of the church. I wanted to make music about love. I wanted to make music about people, chasing their dreams and going after the things that God had put in their heart. And so I remember at the beginning of 2012, every year my family we would take time to just pray and ask God what, he wanted us to do in that year. And I remember in 2012, as clear as day, I felt in my heart that the Lord was like, it's time for you to launch out as an artist and for you to start writing more music, recording more music, and releasing more music. So I was in college at the time, and I remember I just started grinding. I started performing any and everywhere that people would allow me to sing. And most of the events I would sing for free. I was working at the baseball stadium, and so I literally became the resident national anthem singer. Anytime someone wouldn't show up to sing the national anthem, I would sing the national anthem. But it's through that my name got out in the community, so I would get invited to other events within the community where people would ask me to sing. And usually they wouldn't pay me, but that was okay at the time because I was, just continuing to build my career. And at my university, Oral Roberts University, I found favor. They gave me opportunities to sing my songs at different functions and events. I remember at the inauguration of the new president of the university, I sang one of my songs I sang one of my songs at his inaugurations where there was thousands and thousands of people. I remember they would ask me to write songs. They asked me to write song for like one of the university's big donors who they were honoring. But I was just writing and performing. I even did 100 events. I think it was my junior year of college. I did 100 events in the year while being a full-time student. It was kind of crazy, but it was also pretty amazing and cool. And then my senior year of college, it was around the time that everybody, I don't know if y'all remember, everybody was like doing a GoFundMe. Everybody was doing a GoFundMe, or I think it was called something else as well. But everybody was raising like insane amounts of money to fund their albums. And so I was like, hey, I want to do it too. So I decided to, my senior year of college, while I was writing my senior paper and doing everything else, I decided to have a campaign where I sought to raise $25,000 to record an album. And it was the hardest because everybody was doing it in like 30 days. And I was like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it. And so I remember we had a 30-day funding project for my album to raise $25,000. I remember that was the hardest month of my life. Like in between classes, I will literally be going and having meetings with people to try and get them to give to my album funding project. And I just want to take a moment just to stop and thank everybody who believed in me at that time and gave me money. Specifically, the Stenzel family. The Stenzel family just, I don't know why, but they just believed in me and showed a significant amount of money into that project. I remember we were able to give them a plaque, which was essentially like the first CD of the project when it was finished. But anyways, I did not raise $25,000 in that time, in that 30 days. But ultimately, I raised like $10,000 or something like that. And it was something like that. But I remember going on and like finishing out my senior year and not really thinking about the funding project. But then after I graduated from college, I was like, I want to do music full time. And so I began traveling anywhere people would let me sing, I would go. I couldn't really ask for a price at the time, but people would just pay me what they could. And it was during that season as well that my brother quit his job and began managing me full time after I graduated from college. And whenever he started managing me, he was like, hey, we need to raise the rest of this money. We ultimately lowered the goal to $20,000, but we were able to raise $20,000 to record my first album, which was Hope's Stand. I remember in the fall of 2014, my producer, John Coggins, had moved to Los Angeles. So I went out to Los Angeles to finish the recording of Hope's Stand. And it was like a contemporary Christian album. You can go watch the documentary. It's actually really cool how we documented that whole process. So I ended up releasing that album in 2017, and I did an album release concert. I did a listening party for everyone who had given to the project. Again, I did a release concert where I had dancers, I had singers, an amazing band. It was so cool. And we recorded one music video from that album. It was for the song Back Where You Belong, which is really cool as well. You can go check that out. But it was during that season that I actually received an email from The Voice, and they were asking me to come and audition for the show. Now, I had auditioned for the show while I was in college, and I didn't make it on. I kind of chalked it up as that's not an opportunity for me. But I remember I received this email, and something just felt right about it. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to agree to come to this private audition that they're asking me to come to. So I went to Oklahoma City, and I auditioned for The Voice. And a few weeks later, they emailed me or called me actually, and they're like, hey, Brian, this is the producers for The Voice, and I'd love for you to come out to Los Angeles to audition for the executive producers of the show. And so I was like, wow, okay, this is escalating quickly. So I went out to Los Angeles, and I had the opportunity to audition for the executive producers of the show. So ultimately, I had the opportunity to do the blind audition, and I was singing Happy in front of Pharrell. And I really didn't think about the fact that I had the opportunity. I was singing that song in front of Pharrell until right before the audition. But it ultimately was amazing. Pharrell turned around, Adam turned around. You can go and watch the blind audition. It was an incredible moment. I had also had the opportunity to sing "Jesus Loves Me" in that moment. So the voice was an amazing experience for me. It was really, I like to say that it was like a boot camp in the music industry, because we had the opportunity to see so many different aspects of what was going on, and it really became a vital part of like my next steps in my career. And so once I got off The Voice, I made it through to the top 20. Once I got through that, I had the opportunity to really like set out on a new path as an artist. And so one of the things that I had always had in my heart, it was I wanted to record songs about love. I wanted to record songs about like encouraging people in their dreams, like I talked about a little bit earlier in this podcast. So what I did was I went to Los Angeles. I recorded 4 songs with my producer, John Coggins. And so the songs were "Would You Still Love Me," "Hero," "Flaws," and "Get Up." And so my team and I, after the songs were recorded, and we were coming together and just asking ourselves, how can we best market these songs? We came to the conclusion that we were kind of tired of the songs getting lost in the shuffle of all of the songs that are released on the internet every single day. And so we decided that every single song that we release is going to need to have a visual for it. And so that's what we did. We started shooting music videos for each song that we were going to be releasing. And so the first one that we did was "Would You Still Love Me?" And I remember like the feeling that I felt when we were in that first ideation meeting for "Would You Still Love Me?" I was like, I think that this is going to change the game for us. And so ultimately, "Would You Still Love Me" went viral. We released it on the internet, and I remember people's response to the music, to the song, and to the music video was unbelievable. I remember one of the things that we always loved to do was comment on people's comments that they posted, reply to them, and we were up like all night replying to people's comments because they were coming in so fast. And so that was such a cool moment in my career, and it really gave me the confidence to believe that I really think that we could do that. And so, we've been kind of living in that space for the last couple of years where we've been releasing music, and over the last 2 years, our focus on really creating great content for people, even outside of just traditional songs, has really become a huge focus. As you'll see on all my social media platforms, we're constantly releasing content, and we're always releasing content and doing stuff, hopefully in a way that encourages other people to believe that they can do the same thing. I'm big about helping artists to realize that, independent artists specifically who don't have a lot of money, who don't have people backing them, that you can do this thing. Like you can have a thriving career if you'll just start small, if you'll use what's in your hand, and if you'll do the little things that it takes to be successful. And so the journey has been so amazing. There's different seasons within the journey that we'll continue to talk about on the podcast. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little inside story, inside look at my artist journey, my story of my independent journey as an artist. So just want to thank you all so much for taking time to listen to this episode of the Brian Nhira podcast. Make sure that you subscribe on whatever platform you like or watch on, and we will see you later.